Hello, Lesson 3. Bitch tap methods are the core tool of my approach to serious illnesses and pain. Mastering how to do them is key. I created this course with you in mind to give you an edge in your approach to regaining your health. With your help, I'll be customizing this class and smoothing out any bumps we may come across to make it easier to follow and learn. In this lesson, you'll gain more background on my tapping methods, what they're specific for, and how we got to grumbling in the first place. In Lesson 2, you learn more of the mechanics, how to shortcut tap in less than a minute for even faster results, and that's going to come in real handy as we move forward. So, now you know the long and the short of it, and where the tapping points are. In this lesson, I'm introducing you a scientific study, the Adverse Childhood Experience Study, otherwise known as the ACE study, and begin to explain why it's so important to you in this course. At the end of this lesson, I want you to take the ACE quiz to see what your score is. It's good stuff to know for later. Let's begin with ACE. I included the ACE study in my book, and I'm telling you about it now for a damn good reason. Because from my thousands of patient and client experiences, I agree that drawing attention to negative events in your past is a personalized roadmap for the resolution of your health issues. It's important that you understand the implications of the study. I've had my learning experiences with clients who couldn't understand the value of taking a second look at their past, and I really want you to succeed, so listen up. Now, we have compelling evidence that you can run from your past, but your body can't hide from it. And from the mouths of two MDs who, by their traditional education, at least in the earlier years, did not put mind and body together at all, whatsoever. But here comes Dr. Felitti and Anda in the early 90s, who designed the Adverse Childhood Experience Study, or the ACE study. The premise of the study is, could there be a link between childhood trauma and chronic disease? Based on clinical observations of dominant themes from the intake stories and the family histories of thousands of patients with chronic disease and illnesses, it was discovered that a great percentage of these patients, more often than not, were survivors of multiple or serial childhood traumas. Those findings now serve as a benchmark study revealing the impact of childhood trauma on chronic conditions. The patient questionnaire itself defines 9 adverse childhood experiences that can occur in a household before the age of 18. We'll talk about it more and how it's going to help you toward the end of our 30-day course. The ACE study remains the largest ongoing scientific research collaboration of its kind between Kaiser Permanente and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. What's cool is, it's a substantial study with over 30 years of compelling evidence to connect the dots from your past if you want to improve your health in the present. There are definitions used to define a childhood adverse experience. Under the topic of abuse, well, there's emotional abuse. A parent, step-parent, somebody living in your house was emotionally mean to you, verbal abuse, swore at you, insulted you, put you down, made you feel like shit all the time, made you feel afraid. There's a physical abuse. A parent, step-parent, or adult, or even a sibling at home pushed, slapped, threw you at something, hit you, beat the shit out of you, and left marks, or you were injured. Under the topic of sexual abuse, that means an adult, relative, family friend, or stranger who was at least 5 years older than you ever touched or fondled your body in a sexual way, or made them touch you, made them touch them in a sexual way, attempted any type of sexual intercourse. The household challenges was mother was treated violently, and you got to see that. Your mother or your stepmother or guardian was pushed, grabbed, slapped, had something thrown at her, kicked, bitten, hit with a fist, hit with something hard, repeatedly for over a few minutes, or ever threatened by a knife or a gun by your father or stepfather, or worse, your mother's boyfriend. Household substance abuse means someone in your household was an alcoholic or used street drugs. Mental illness in the household means a family member was depressed or clinically mentally ill or attempted suicide, and you got to see that or you witnessed it. If your parents were separated or divorced, that makes a big difference because it can get messy and it can be very sad and lonely. A criminal household member. If someone in your family was incarcerated, that affects the whole family and brings you down. There's a topic of neglect. An emotional neglect means somebody made you feel less important or not special. You didn't feel loved. People in your family didn't look after each other. You didn't feel close to each other. Your family was not a source of strength or support. There's physical neglect. That's where someone doesn't take care of you or protect you. They don't take you to the doctor if you need it. You didn't have enough to eat, or your parents were too drunk or too stoned to take care of you. You had to wear dirty clothes. Sadly enough, 2/3 of the study's participants had at least one ACE event, and a whopping 20%, 1 in 5, had 3 or more ACE events growing up. So what, you ask? Well, as the number and or intensity of ACE events goes up, so does the risk of alcoholism and alcohol abuse, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, depression, fetal death, health-related quality of life, illicit drug use, ischemic heart disease, liver disease, poor work performance, financial stress, risk for intimate partner violence, multiple sexual partners, sexually transmitted diseases, smoking, suicide attempts, unintended pregnancies, early initiation of smoking, early initiation of sexual activity, adolescent pregnancy, and risk for sexual violence. And this is not exhaustive. There's even more. So what, you ask? Well, how about autoimmune diseases like MS, like rheumatoid arthritis, like lupus? In one study of over 15,000 adults, 64% had at least one ACE event. The more events, the higher the rate of hospitalization for autoimmune conditions. 70 to 80% increased risk for conditions such as idiopathic myocarditis, which means inflammation of the heart with no known cause, and 100% increased risk for rheumatoid diseases. Think about that. Think about the effects of layered stresses from early in your life lingering in your body, affecting your health, your immune system. If this all seems like dismal news, well, it isn't the whole story. ACE scores don't take into account the positive experiences you may have had early in life that can help build resilience and protect a child from the effects of trauma. Having a grandparent who loved you dearly, a teacher who understands and believes in you, or a good friend you can confide in may counter some of the long-term effects of early trauma. Like I said, we'll talk more about the implications of this study on your health, and will definitely turn you into a superhero for getting rid of the lingering effects of those kinds of experiences on your body and your mind. Here's how my methods evolved. In my private practice, early on, it was evident to me that people who are seriously ill are also on emotional lockdown. Their main challenge was playing down their traumatic life experiences, denying it all matters, or they're still mad about them or even hurt. They over-intellectualized those memories, tamped them down enough to where they couldn't even connect with them anymore. It isn't the past that affects you. It's the memories of the past that affect you. That's a quote from Robert Schwartz, PhD, Association for Comprehensive Energy Psychology Director, otherwise known as ASEP. That's a mouthful. Those are the memories that percolate inside of you, deep beneath the surface, on a cellular level, a molecular level, a subconscious level, and raise havoc over time in your general health. The other big challenge, and the main reason why some of my clients didn't get those mind-blowing results and only experienced temporary change in symptoms, is that they refuse to go back and examine their past. Some of them even blew out of treatment because of it. Based on my consistent findings, there's 3 top reasons for not going back to the past. The first one is it's already been done with cognitive behavioral therapy. So they're not ready to admit they need to revisit. Time and money already spent. It's already been talked about. It's all taken care of. The second reason is they're too damn angry at the person or situation to give it any more power. Not worth going back there anymore. So they're not willing to do it again. And the third reason is some people are just not able to see the connection between a past experience and present problems. Nevertheless, I always honor everyone's path. It's enough for me that I expose them to the concept. It's up to them in the long run. Thanks to the majority of my clients who hung in there and gave it a try, even though they played down their negative life events, we had to start somewhere. And that's how my grumble tap evolved. Those clients found out for themselves that grumbling about an issue they determined to have a low intensity in the beginning was in reality still quite emotionally charged. Past things that they were convinced were resolved already or didn't matter stirred up intense emotions that surprised the heck out of them. I call it their shock and awe moment. From there, I learned that the stronger, bolder the language, the faster the issue went away. The results were stunning. That's called bitch tap. Okay, here's some very, very common reasons to have stuffed down emotions. And the first and foremost is control, and I talked about that already. But you may not feel entitled to having them, or you're just guilty for feeling them. You shouldn't have to feel that way. You have no business feeling that way. You know what I mean? The guilt, especially if you're talking about your parents or someone that you love. I've given you a way to work around the control issue, which in my mind is first and foremost, but we'll be talking about not feeling entitled to your emotions and guilt as it comes up in our coaching calls. And just about everyone has one or all these emotional barriers. It doesn't mean you're flawed. It just means that you're very good at protecting yourself. Doesn't mean you're sick, just out of balance. That's all. Bitch tap methods are standout because it's specific for zeroing in on those aberrant, unexpressed, negative emotions. It pulls them out by the core so they never come back and your old wounds heal from deep down. Here are the top 10 issues my bitch tap was specifically developed to release. Unexpressed anger, resentments, grudges, deep regrets, humiliations, embarrassments, frustrations, unsatisfied missed moments in your life, helplessness, and feeling victimized. That top 10 covers a lot of ground in a lifespan. I broke down all the formulaic rules about setup phrases, positive affirmations, and reminder phrases. Stuff like, I love and accept myself. Well, not everyone does. Yet another barrier to get through. It's not needed with bitch tap methods. so you can speak your own truth on your own terms, in your own way, off the cuff, free-form style. And no one gets hurt in the process. You do it on your own privately. You'll find that both methods are not only extremely satisfying to do, they can be fun in a comical way of diffusing and collapsing emotional past events. And not only that, this special way of tapping allows you to really own those feelings and maybe for the first time ever feel entitled to having them. And that's a good thing, and it's healthy. Hey, maybe you really did have a right to feel angry. Speak up, react differently. And the best thing of all is, once you master this method, you'll get your missed moment back, time after time, your way. So you can check those regrets off your shit list forever. And you can say it exactly the way you've always replayed that moment in your head. If you coulda, woulda, shoulda done it. Okay. So for the coaching call, you have 2 homework assignments. The first one is to complete the ACE quiz. You have your score with you for the coaching call, but there's no need to share them with the group. More for your own personal reference as we discuss core issues further. We'll discuss how to start connecting the dots to your current state of health and go over any questions. Your second assignment is for you to come up with 3 small-scale regrets with a mini title to them. Remember, you already know all about them, so give it 3 or 4 words for a title. I'll be taking as many volunteers during the coaching call as time allows to help you work on just one of your regrets while the rest of the group taps along. I call it empathic resonant energy release. Everyone feels good. Rate how intense these feelings are, these memories are, and write it down alongside of your regret. And remember, don't bring me your 3 catastrophic life decisions. No time for that now. We want practice ones, little ones like, I regret not learning Spanish from my mom. I regret I missed that party. I regret not passing the doggone driver's test. Congratulations! You finished lesson and module 1. Remember to share any comments or questions in our private Facebook BTAP page, and I'll be reading and answering every one of them. I can't wait till the next lesson. We're fixing to amp it up. Get ready to grumble.